Hi guys, welcome to Flux Nourishment. If you are new to following me, my name is Megan. I'm Flux Nourishment on Facebook and on Instagram. And tonight I'm talking about why diets don't work, and if they don't work, what actually does work. So a couple of, intros. So why do diets not work? Okay, well, first of all, most of the time they're unsustainable. So their success is kind of spotty. And if you are someone that has met, which all of us have, if you meet someone that says, I've lost 5 pounds in a week or, 10 pounds in a week, something along those lines, I suggest just turn the other way and don't listen, because that's an unsustainable amount of weight to lose in such a short amount of time. So a lot of times diets are unsustainable, and they're also very restrictive, and they have unrealistic rules. So I'm actually going to move my board back just a little bit because I can't really see everything I've written on it. All right, so too regimented, too unrealistic rules, and one size fits all approach. And so if you are new to following me, you have already seen that I'm sort of, I don't like to put people in a box of what they can and cannot eat, because I really do believe that every one of us are individuals and that we have preferences. We have histories, we have backgrounds, we have things that we were raised on when we were children, and so we always kind of are wanting to go back to that what is normal for us. And so one of the first questions that I ask my clients when I'm trying to make them a food plan, or if I'm trying to get them on a new regimen, I ask them, what foods do you actually enjoy? And so we have an animated conversation about things that they think taste good, and what they enjoy feeding their children, and what their kids like to eat, and the types of foods that their children kind of are always leaning towards enjoying. And so I really do like to listen to these conversations, and I like to be a part of these conversations with my clients, because it gives me an insight to where they're coming from with food. What have they grown up on? And so people, a lot of times, are going to explain, if it's somebody in the South, they're going to say, I really loved vegetable beef stew, or I really liked fried okra, or spaghetti and meatballs was like a staple in my house. And so those types of flavors are always things that I'm gravitating back towards, because that was what I was raised on. And so I just think that you, as you're kind of planning what is going to be sustainable for you, you have to think about what foods actually taste good to you. And so I'm always talking to my clients about this, because I don't think that you can really make a weight loss plan for yourself that doesn't take into account things that you naturally enjoy. So that is the first conversation that I have with my clients when I'm trying to make a plan for them. Okay, so unsustainable weight loss is going to be short-term success, but unsustainable, too regimented, too unrealistic rules, and a one-size-fits-all approach. So that's why diets do not work. And I posted on Facebook earlier that 95% of diets fail, and that people gain back that weight, and sometimes, unfortunately, even more than they lost to begin with. So 5 tips for success, discounting, I'm going to move this back even more because I still can't see it very well. So discounting the obvious, drink more water, don't drink your sugar, and getting enough sleep. So those 3, we're just going to assume that we've already learned those, and we've already internalized those 3 rules, that we don't need to be drinking our sugar, and we need to be drinking enough water, and we need to be getting enough sleep. So cooking at home is going to be my first tip. Of course, that's my first tip. So cooking at home, eating at home, packing your lunch if you're working outside of the home. So that is, I don't really have to expound on that, because I feel like that's what I talk about all the time, is how important it is to be cooking at home. We know that when we go out to eat, that all of those meals are laced with too much fat, too much sugar, too much salt. I'm not saying never go out to eat. Listen, I love to go out to eat. It's like my favorite thing to do. But I try to choose restaurants that have a food that I feel comfortable eating at and taking my children to. And that's something that I'll keep talking about, travel tips and that kind of thing. So second tip would be following a volumetrics way of eating. So this is going to be maybe in the gray area that is debatable, but I really do believe people that I've met that have had sustainable weight loss, I'm talking, they tell me, I lost 30 pounds 3 years ago and I haven't gained any of that weight back. Is people who are following a diet that they're able to eat more but it's less calories and they feel more full. So that's going to follow like a Dr. Dean Ornish. He had the theory. So he is a vegan. He advocates a plant-based diet. And in fact, his diet or his way of eating is actually now a deductible expense on most insurance companies. But it's going to be lots of food, but it's less calories, and it's going to actually fill your belly up. So you're able to eat, especially with the standard American diet. I think that we have learned to eat kind of like all day. And that's not necessarily a great way of eating, because I do think you have to have that sacred space between meals for your gut to be able to digest all that good food and to be able to soak in the nourishment. But I do think that if we as Americans, we love to eat. And so if we're able to eat more food, less calories, then I do believe it's a more sustainable way of eating. And so I'm talking lots of vegetables, obviously, with tons of fiber, really rich whole grains. I love brown rice. I love quinoa. And, minimal fruit. I like fruit, but I think too much fruit can sometimes be a trap for people. And I love legumes. And for me, because of my high activity, I have to have plenty of fat. And I speak with a lot of people that are very hungry on a plant-based diet. And a lot of times it's because they don't have enough fat in their diet. And so I cook with full-fat coconut milk. That's another debatable subject, and I do think for every individual it's going to be different. I don't add oil, but so avocados, high-fat coconut milk, and then the nuts that I eat, I believe they sustain me because I'm a long-distance runner. So my third tip would be to chew your food. I know this sounds kind of obvious, like you, of course, chew your food. But I find myself rushing through my meals, and I don't think I'm alone. I'm always thinking about what's next, and I'm always in a hurry. I'm feeding my kids and taking care of this and that while I'm having a meal. But I believe when I'm most successful, that I am sitting down, I am enjoying my food, I am chewing every bite, I'm maybe even putting my utensil down between bites. And this can feel laborious if you've not done this ever before. But I highly, highly, highly recommend you slowing down your meal and enjoying your meal. And that's why I love to have a glass of wine or a beer with my meal, because I really do feel like that it tunes me in to we are enjoying this time together. We are saying a prayer before our meal, giving gratitude for what we've been given, and just enjoying that space of we are at a meal together. And I do think this is part of sustainable weight loss. So the next one is high intensity interval training. And so we know that the centurions, the people who are living over 100 years, that they have spent a lifetime of doing high intensity work. And so since we live in a culture and just a lifestyle that doesn't require us to have really high intensity labor, this requires us to do some type of high intensity exercise. And so that is why high intensity interval training, or often referred to as HIIT, H-I-I-T, is becoming so popular right now, and it's recognized by doctors and nutritionists and health coaches all over this country as being a very effective way to lose weight. And so this is going to be, again, according to your bio individual, where you are as far as your activity level right now in this moment. So for me, my HIIT training is going to look very different from someone who is just starting to exercise. So it may mean seriously that you are just walking faster for 30 seconds. So you're going to, walk at your normal pace, then you're going to pick it up for 30 seconds, or, and keep doing that. So you're going to take kind of a break, and high intensity, break, high intensity. And tomorrow I'm pairing up with my good friend Megyn. She is a Stroller Strong Mom instructor, and she is going to demonstrate what high intensity interval training looks like. And so we're going to kind of do like some partner high intensity interval trainings and show you guys what that looks like and how you can just do that at home. The great thing about high intensity interval training is it can be done in a very short amount of time. So if you are short on time, you can get in that 3-minute Tabata or whatever, and you can click the box for your high intensity interval training. Such an effective, incredibly effective way to lose weight. Okay, so my last tip is experiment. So one of the things I tell my clients is you can say, okay, I'm going to change my breakfast. I'm going to eat 7 different types of breakfasts over a 7-day period. I'm going to eat a box cereal. I'm going to eat, a piece of toast with almond butter, or, an egg. And every different thing you eat, I want you to record, hey, this is the way I felt after eating this food. And, regardless if you think that's a bad food or a good food, just write down what you felt after you ate that, or how that food made you feel. And so just realize that this is a continuous process that you need to figure out. Go down the rabbit trail, as I tell my clients, and figure out what works for you. Create your own diet that you believe works for you, and just kind of play with it and experiment with it, because I really do believe that is the key to success as far as sustainable weight loss. And finally, if you get to the end of the day and you are eating a box of cereal, or you're spooning out tablespoons out of the Nutella jar, or whatever your vice is, it's across the board with people that I talk to. It's not a loss. Like, you did not fail for that day, and you just start over. Like, the next day is the next day. You just say to yourself, whatever I did today didn't work for me. And if it's a sweet tooth, I have recommendations for that to kind of curb that sweet tooth. One would be you need to eat your sweet vegetables, sweet potatoes, carrots, butternut squash, all of those sweet vegetables are really great to eat earlier in the day, and it'll curb your sweet tooth. And of course, you guys know that I love apple cider vinegar. It's such a great, I guess you'd call it a supplement. It's a great option for curbing your sweet tooth. Tons and tons and tons of more tips and tricks that I can share with you guys, but I am going to stop there. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget about the cookbook giveaway. Post your plentiful plate and tag Flux Nourishment and 2 friends that you can challenge to also post a plentiful plate. So that is all for you guys tonight. Thank you.